And welcome back to Backspace Academy. In this hands-on session, I'm going to be looking at the versioning features of Amazon S3. Once we've done that, we'll look at how we can use a lifecycle rule to migrate old versions of our objects over to an archiving solution like Amazon Glacier. Okay, so starting off in the S3 console, I'm just going to, before we start, I'm going to talk about this bucket here. What it is, it's a bucket there that's been created by the Elastic Beanstalk service. Now, I've been getting a lot of messages from students saying, oh, I've got this bucket here. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to delete it. I can't delete it. And they're really concerned they're going to get a bill for that bucket. Now, provided that bucket is empty, and all you need to do is just click on it and then select empty bucket, and you'll be able to empty that bucket. Provided it's empty, you're not going to get billed for it. And you won't be able to delete it because it's used by the Elastic Beanstalk service. And so next time you use Elastic Beanstalk in that region, it will use that bucket to store its data. So don't be too concerned about it. Just make sure it's empty if you see it. So what we're going to do now is just very quickly create a bucket. It doesn't matter what we call it, as long as it's unique. And we've got an option here for versioning. Now we want to do that. We want to keep track of the different versions that are being uploaded inside of this this bucket. And next, and create that bucket. So what I've got here is a text file, and all it simply says is this is version 1. We're going to upload that, and then we'll upload over the top of that version 2. And then we'll see if we can get the old version 1 back again. So just jump into that bucket and we'll upload this version 1. So we'll upload that, and then we'll create another version of this called version 2, and I'll just save that. And I'm going to upload that over the version 1 and see what happens. Okay, so that's finished uploading. What I'm going to do is have a look at it and download it and see what one it is there. So there we go. So version 2 is the one that's there in our bucket that we can see. Now, what if we want to get back version 1? So what we can do is go back to that bucket and we can look at the version history here. So we just see here, we've got versions, and we can show the different versions of our objects. So there is our latest version, and there is our old version. So if we want to revert back to that old version, we can just simply delete that last one there. And delete it. And so now when we go back in and we just hide the versions, if we go back into our text.txt, we download that again. That should show our original version. So there it is. This is version 1. So that's how simple and easy it is to go back in the version history and find the version you want. So what happens if we completely delete it? So let's just do that. We're going to completely delete that object. So let's delete it. So there we go. The bucket is empty. The object has been deleted. But we can also go back in our versions. We can find it again. So we click on show. And there we can see that there is our old version. And we've also got this thing here called a delete marker. So what we can do is if we delete this delete marker, it will undelete that object. So if we just go there and we go more and we'll delete. So we've deleted that marker. If we go back and hide our versions, there we go, our test.txt has come back again. So that's a really good thing. So if you accidentally delete stuff and you've got versioning enabled, just go back in the version history, delete the delete marker, and you've got it back again. Now, what if we want to save costs and we don't want to keep all of these old versions of our objects in our bucket, and we want to store them somewhere that is low cost, for example, on Amazon Glacier for archiving. So what we can do is we can set up a lifecycle rule, and what it will do is it will get old versions of our objects. For example, we can get our versions that are, for example, 90 days old, and then we can migrate those over to Amazon Glacier, And we can do that and save costs. And at the same time, we can also get those objects back if need be. We can also set up a lifecycle rule to expire objects for the current version or previous versions, so that after a certain amount of time, for example, say after 2 years, then all versions or all previous versions of an object will be permanently deleted. So it'll be permanently deleted off Glacier and off everything. So that is going to help you to manage the life cycle of your objects without you having to actually do anything at all. And it's going to save you a lot of costs and a lot of headaches. So how do we do that? So we go into management and add a lifecycle rule. We're just going to call this test rule. That will do. We won't add a filter to it. We click on next. And we're going to apply this for previous versions of objects. So what we can do now is we can add a transition. So we want to transition from this bucket over to Amazon Glacier for our previous versions when they are, for example, we'll choose 90 days old. So what's going to happen if we upload another object and we've got an old version there? After 90 days, it will be migrated across to Amazon Glacier, and that's going to save us a lot of costs. Click on next. What we can also do is that we can permanently delete objects or old versions of objects after a certain amount of time as well. So what we'll do is we'll click on previous versions, and we can permanently delete previous versions after whatever time there. So 455 days there. So that's going to permanently delete that off everything, off Glacier. If it's gone to Glacier, it will permanently delete that off that. And so that's going to again save you costs on Glacier for very old versions that you're not going to be needing. We can also clean up expired object delete markers and incomplete multi-part uploads as well. So we'll click on next and save that. And so that's how simple it is to actually manage your archiving solution using Amazon S3. So you can use it for your live storage there. You can get access to it instantaneously, but at the same time, you can migrate that over based on a rule over to cheaper versions, and then finally delete it when it is guaranteed you're not going to need it anymore. So that brings us to the end of our hands-on demonstration on S3 versioning and lifecycle rules. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.